Good morning. Welcome to the, what are we calling this? What was it? There you go, Corn Forum. All right, I like that. So thank you all for coming. I know we'll still probably have some people coming in as they wander across campus in here. I know last time we had the great pizza challenge of 2018. Looks like we've got plenty of slices though this time, so feel free to get up and get another slice while we're chatting. Don't hesitate. So again, I just want to say thanks for coming. We're going to just sort of talk about a few things that are happening on campus, share those with you. You'll hear from a couple other folks, not just me. But first I want to just ask, what brought you here? Was it the social media? Well, okay, one, all right. Two, was it the posters on campus? A few more, okay. Was it promises of pizza? Ampersand coupons? All right, okay. So a mix. And how about, did any of you have your faculty remind you about this until you come? Awesome. Okay. All right. Great. So I'm glad you're here. Feel free to ask questions throughout. We'll have time at the end for Q&A as well. But if something is burning on your mind, you don't have to wait. You can just interrupt to ask a question. I have meetings like this a couple times for faculty and staff, and I always tell them that the students are the ones who have the good questions. So don't disappoint me and ask some good questions. Okay. So we're going to jump right in, and I'm just going to share a couple things about, again, what's happening. But I know probably what is the biggest question on your mind is, will we have school tomorrow? And I don't know. That's it. So we actually just met about it. We just met about it before this, and we're going to regroup this afternoon. If I had to guess, I would say probably. Yes, it's going to be cold, but you all can bundle up and be okay. But we'll check in this afternoon and see what's going on at other schools around, and we will use our alert system to let you know if we are going to be canceling classes. Okay, so stay posted for that, but don't skip out on your schoolwork for the rest of the day in hopeful anticipation of no classes. All right, so a few academic changes that I want to just bring your attention to. We always have faculty kind of moving in and out of leadership positions, going on sabbatical, new people coming on. So Kelly Malak-Kosak, who is currently, or is rolling out of being chair of the Fine Arts program and crafts and our history program. No, not our history, no, that's sorry, crafts and fine arts. She is on sabbatical this semester. When Kelly returns next fall, she will be the new chair of the MFA program. And with her sabbatical and then continuing into next year, Tim Riedenbach is now the chair of the BFA in Fine Arts and Crafts. So congratulations to Tim and Kelly on their new roles. We also have a new faculty member who started in the fall, who this spring has taken over as chair of film and video. That's Nella Satino. And Duncan Snyder will be on sabbatical next fall, and so he'll be rolling out of the chairship for photography. And we are currently doing a search, many faculty searches, one of whom will be the new chair of photography. In addition to the chair of photo, we're searching for new faculty in fashion, film and video, core, as well as two in illustration. One that's a little bit more general, and the other that has a more specified focus in illustration. We also are in the middle of searching for a new dean of graduate studies. Rick Petrie, who has been quasi-serving in that role, will be retiring at the end of this year. And we have also just hired a new program coordinator for illustration and comics. Mike Lawhead had been the coordinator. Now that he's chair, we just hired a new program coordinator. More details about that will be announced soon, and she'll be starting in March. So lots of shifts and changes, but hopefully all pretty seamless from your end and the experience that you have as students on the academic side. I've got a few more things to share with you, but I'm going to pause here and turn it over to Mackenzie Willers. Mackenzie, our student government president, is going to share a few updates and words with you.
lot of valuable information to talk about. But first and foremost is student government applications are open and you all need to do it. To give you a brief and very eloquently written rundown written by Chris Mundell, you all got the email, I'm just reiterating. CCAD Student Government Association is seeking motivated, caring, and passionate students to help make change on campus. Each position has special responsibilities and plays a vital role in being the voice for student needs and concerns at CCAD. Student government leaders receive special perks, including complimentary meal plans, opportunities to meet with President Corn and other senior administrators, and access to the Student Government Association's office space and crane. Also, it's just like a great thing to do and you should do it because it's great. Applications are open now through this Friday, February 1st at 5 p.m. More details and the application can be found on my CCAD under student government. It's great. I'm in it. It's like really fun. Lots of perks, as you heard. The deadline was extended, so this is like your last and final chance to apply. You can make a lot of really positive change if you do this. So that is the most important thing I have to say. You have a question?
If we can't get involved, when do you guys meet? So we can just attend meetings?
Yeah, that is a good question. I should have brought that up myself. We meet every Monday at 11 a.m. in the Crane multi-purpose room. It's not just exclusive to student government. Anyone can come. We talk about different issues every week, and if we have guests, we give them a special time to like say, you know, why did you come to this meeting? Do you have any issues you'd like to raise or address? Do you have any ideas? So it's open to the whole student body. It's definitely not an exclusive thing. You can find out more about that stuff, like when we meet, when we're doing things on our Instagram. That's where we're most active. It's CCAD SGA. That's really all I have to say because it's on Friday and it's a very important thing that you all should be doing.
Any other questions for Mackenzie about anything student government's working on?
Otherwise, I'll turn it back over to Corn. Yes, I love questions. What's up?
What are some of the topics you guys discuss at your meetings?
A lot of what we end up discussing comes from our monthly meetings with Corn and Chris Mundell and more administrative people. We get together, the executive board of SGA gets together with them monthly just to kind of give them updates on what's going on with the student body since we're kind of a direct source for what happens on the ground. And we kind of discuss what we think, you know, the students are saying and like what changes need to happen, and then we bring that information back to our student government meetings. A lot of what we do is event planning as well, just kind of listening to what the student body is saying, what needs to be happening, just kind of making positive changes across campus. And it's really, really helpful when students come and like bring those concerns to us because, you know, there's only so much we can hear and listen for. So, thank you so much for our meeting.
So at least things like
Also, there's a thing coming up called Unplugged Day, which you can find a lot more about on my CCAD as well. But it's a technology blackout that kind of originated through student government due to the results of the survey that you guys answered recently that went out. I don't want to spoil anything, so you can read all about that on my CCAD, but it's going to be a very fun event. Very exciting things are happening with that. So, does anybody else have any more questions? Do you have questions? If not, I'm going to turn it back over to Melanie.
As I raise the mic, I have to note that Mackenzie and I are actually close to the same height. She's just wearing sensible flats, and I'm wearing like, you know, 4-inch monster heels. You know, helps me feel authoritative at the podium. Jumping ahead, I think the promos for this meeting talked a little bit about campus planning and what's ahead here. So I want to just give you a little brief bit of background. In 2012, before I got here, CCAD developed a campus framework. And what that really is sort of a kind of look at the sort of physical campus of CCAD, trying to develop a framework for moving ahead. How might that campus change and evolve as time goes on? So it had really, you know, big ideas for what the future of our campus will look like, what buildings and facilities needed upgrading, what needed to be added, what needed to go away, you know, again, sort of in a long view. And there were, however, a lot of changes at CCAD after that campus framework was done in 2012. Denny Griffith retired, another president came and left, and then I got here about 3 years ago and began working on a new strategic plan. For those of you who haven't seen that plan, it is publicly available. You can see it and read the whole thing. It's at ccad.edu/strategic plan, so it's right there for everybody. And as part of that plan, we decided that it was time to take a look at that framework from 2012 and see if it still made sense, see if it was still the right direction for us to move in, see what changes we might need to make to it. So we are currently this year working with a group of architects and planners and other professionals in the field to sort of give us a recommendation for how we might amend that plan. We're not starting from scratch, but really building off of what we did as an institution in 2012. And again, thinking about how we, of course, want to engage everyone in that process. So as part of that, we've had meetings with faculty and staff, and we've also had conversations with students. We did a survey. How many of you remember filling out the survey? Great, yeah, we had good participation in the survey. I can't remember exactly how many filled it out, but it was a few hundred, I think. So we had good participation. The planners also met with student government, who presented the survey results about what CCAD students said that they believe would be best for your experience here. And I wanted to share a couple of those results with you. So this is just one image. I know you may not be able to read the tiny print, but these were sort of questions that were asked on the survey about, so what is important to you and what we should prioritize in terms of focusing on new spaces. So the top votes were more collaborative social spaces, health and wellness space, more and improved classrooms, outdoor recreational space. Those were kind of the top four that rose up in that. And it was really, great to sort of hear from you all about sort of what you feel like we still need to build more of and improve here at CCAD. And of course, other priorities came up in that as well, beyond just sort of physical spaces. So thinking about safety, particularly pedestrian safety, of course, that we have been working with the city on making improvements, but it's still an issue at an urban campus. Parking, of course, always comes up in any survey. Thinking about recreation space, on-campus health clinic, all of these things were other elements that came up in the multiple questions in the survey. So what's next? Thinking about what are the next steps. This spring, we're continuing to gather a little bit more data, and most importantly, now is the moment to really sort of reflect on all of those various inputs and turn all that information into a meaningful plan about how we move forward and continue to grow and develop the campus over the next 5, 10, 20 years. So our goal is to have that new framework completed by the end of this term, so really by May. And once that's done, we will share it out with everyone. So again, just like the future plan, it'll be a document that you can all have access to. It's not, nothing secret will be in it. But in the meantime, if you have more to say about this, please continue that conversation. So you can always contact me directly. You can email me at mcorn@ccad.edu and share your thoughts. You can email McKinsey. You can show up to a student government meeting at 11 a.m. on Monday and on any Monday and share your thoughts with the student government leaders about what you think the priorities are for the campus. And as we start to make changes, keep in mind that we work hard to fundraise from outside donors to make these changes happen. We understand that we don't want to use your tuition dollars for something that may not benefit you, that may sort of be in place after you graduate. So we will likely be, once we sort of finish this framework plan, launch into a kind of significant fundraising campaign to try to raise money to actually bring this plan to fruition. And that'll be a multi-year project. So just want to keep that in mind too. So I don't want you thinking like, oh, we're going to sit here and make a fancy new rec center for your money for people who aren't even new. So that's what we don't want to do. We work hard again to make sure that we're funding these from other sources. Okay, so from the broad picture of campus planning to kind of one specific micro example, we talked a little bit last time about changes at the One Stop. So just to kind of update you on those. So many of you may have noticed changes in the One Stop. This has been an ongoing process, as we've discussed. In fact, in one of my very first meetings with students when I got here almost 3 years ago, some students told me that the One Stop needed some improvements, and we've been working on it. So we have already made some renovations to the physical space downstairs on the first floor of Crane. Hopefully you've been enjoying those and you've seen those. You can now, as of now, or as of February 1st? As of now.
Now with the starting Monday.
Got it, okay. So as of now, you can make an appointment for a date starting as of this coming Monday online with your academic advisor. You can sign up to get text alerts about that meeting, which is pretty great, right? Because that's the way we communicate these days. I always tell people that I choose not to go to a hair salon if I can't sign up for an appointment online. Because I, like you, though I may be a little older, would prefer to do that than talk on the phone. So you can now do that for academic advising, and soon you'll be able to do that for financial aid and other services. So those things are being rolled out. We're starting with academic advising, making sure we get all the kinks out, and then adding in other student services as well. And then, looking ahead, we're looking to have some sort of mobile kiosks kind of in that space as well for you to use and be able to, again, sort of make an appointment right there on the spot if you need access to that, check in for appointments, those types of things. So that's forthcoming. But we're also working, in addition to the sort of technology behind making appointments, the sort of physical layout of the space to make it more functional for the staff who work there. We're also working on the branding and the look and feel of the space. The administration went to the CCAD Student Agency, which is the student group who works in the Marketing and Communications Department, and they did a study of the one-stop student experience. So 3 students, India Jade Orban, Jalea Wills, and Lanisa Ritchie, all helped with that project, so I want to thank them for their help. They'll be sharing their findings with the administration, perhaps tomorrow. I know it's coming up very soon. Yeah, tomorrow. And so the next steps will be sort of once we have a chance to hear from them what they found, that we will take action on some of those findings and be able to move forward with making that space feel more comfortable, more like a place you want to go, not as Chris Mandela says, more like a Genius Bar, less like the DMV. I guess that's the BMV here in Ohio, right? Still figuring that out. So we'll be looking forward to kind of continuing to make improvements to that space now that we've got the kind of the bones right in terms of the right layout for offices. A couple other updates on what's going on here. So Equitas Health. Again, we also shared this in the fall, but just want to remind everybody that Equitas Health now serves as CCAD's preferred provider of primary care and health services for all students. That doesn't mean that you're required to use the service, but it's a great partnership with an organization here in nearby that is committed to serving our community. The King Lincoln Medical Center and Pharmacy is located just a half mile from campus, and you can now book appointments for Equitas Health through CCAD's website, so through myccad.edu/health, which is really awesome. So again, you can sort of have a single point of service right there. And we continue to explore the future of health services here at CCAD, but this has been a really great step to partner with a great organization nearby, and we are continually involving students in figuring out how their use of that service has gone, getting their feedback, getting all kinds of data and statistics back from Equitas about usage, and figuring out if it's working well and what the next steps might be. So thank you to Chris and the Student Affairs team and the students who were involved in helping us move that forward and get that going. So this year is an exciting year for CCAD. You probably have seen by now, but CCAD turns 140 this year. In fact, we just turned 140 a couple weeks ago. January 6th, yes, was our official birthday. Jill Moorhead in marketing likes to say that, we may be turning 140, but we don't look a day over 139. And maybe I didn't say, 137. We're looking good. So I'm not sure if you all know, but CCAD really got started with the museum next door. So for the first 100 years, we were part of the museum. We were a museum school. And then in the early 1980s, we split off in what was an amicable divorce. So we are still great neighbors and great friends. but we've been our own kind of standalone entity, our own 501c3 nonprofit entity for about 40 years now, close to 40 years. But that whole 140-year history is something that we are looking back on and celebrating throughout the year. So you may have seen an exhibition over the last few weeks up in the Kanzani Center, up in the ACOC Gallery, that looked at some of the student posters from student exhibitions. We've been, even though it may not have been called Chroma for 140 years, we've been doing an end-of-year student exhibition for 140 years, and that is pretty incredible. And so we were looking at some of the graphic design for those posters and other kind of ephemera. I want to just also recommend that if you want to learn more about our history, our library has an archivist, a CCAD archivist. Maybe you didn't know that, but we actually have an archive. Chloe Key is our archivist, and she also, not only can you go in the library and just talk with her, I know, face to face, it's crazy, but if you don't want to do that, you can check out her Facebook page. So there's a CCAD archive Facebook page that has really awesome photos and other, I said awesome, I think at times. It has great sort of images from CCAD's history, and you can learn a little bit more about this institution of which you are a part. Okay, so I think now it is time to introduce Johnny Riddle. So, speaking of alumni who will be all over our city in galleries throughout the fall, I want to introduce Johnny Riddle, who is the head of our alumni relations. So, he's going to talk to you a few things about what it means to be an alum.
Thanks so much. As Dr. Corn said, my name is Johnny Riddle. My position is Alumni and Development Manager. What that means is I am your first point of outreach when it comes to alumni relations. I focus on not only connecting alumni with each other, with businesses, with students, but I also like to rally alumni around what's going on with the institution and what we're doing with students. So one of the things that I want to present to you guys now is the family campaign. We actually just wrapped up a wonderful campaign where it was faculty and staff raised $34,672 for student scholarships. 103 different donors, all part of the CCAD family, and that's 45% of all professors, deans, adjuncts, faculty, staff members. It was, truly remarkable because it is building a future and a base with the students that will go on to be the alumni that are out there. So, as far as alumni relations goes, first off, who's graduating this year? Okay, awesome. Well, well, I have some great tips for how you can stay continuously involved once you have gone out there into the real world. So, first one, update and share. I know that as you go out there into the professional world, you may not use your CCAD email as often as you do as a student. So first thing that you want to do is update with a non-CCAD email. And I have a sheet over on the printer table that you can update your email. And that way I can stay in contact you with exciting news, updates, what's going on still on campus and off campus. As well as share the exciting things that are going on with your career. I work very closely with marketing and communications, and spreading the good word of your work is incredibly important. Not only for you, but it shows what CCAD is producing, and it just builds on everything that we have going on here. Networking. We have a alumni Facebook page that I try to keep up very regularly, and that's some of the exciting news that's going on with alumni, with the school, in the industry. We try to keep abreast of what's going on in the careers that you guys are doing. So make sure to like CCAD page on Facebook, the alumni page, and as Dr. Corn mentioned, the archives page. We also have showing your CCAD pride on your, obviously your resume, but on your LinkedIn profile, on your bios. Make sure to mention that you are an alum of CCAD. It's something that you should take a lot of pride in. You worked your butts off for so long, and you accomplished something, something remarkable that you should be very proud of. So make sure to share it on your bios, as well as if you have pins or buttons, shirts, wear them out. There's a lot of CCAD connections out there that you might not already have. Participate in the future. One thing that I work with alumni is volunteering, whether it's coming on campus to speak with students, volunteering at Chroma, which we will have an alumni headquarters this year, so make sure to stop by if you are a recent alum. And we also have a lot of networking events out around the country, so as long as you have your updated email and like the Facebook page, you'll be able to come out to those. Stay in touch. Our faculty care so much about you not only when you're on this campus, but well beyond. So as an alum, you have access to them. Reach out to them. They are going to be your mentors not only for the 4 years here, but for the rest of your life. So make sure to stay in touch, and if you ever have questions in regards to who to reach out to, you can always get hold of me at alumni at ccad.edu. It'll all be in this little nice pamphlet for you. And then pay it forward. The education and the resources that we have here is thanks to the generosity of so many donors, alumni who, once they have gone out there and built a career, they have given it back in regards to student scholarships, resources, operating costs. And it shows the pride that is held in the education that is provided here at CCAD. So make sure to update your email on the sheet over there. Grab a how to be an alum. And I have business cards, so if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out. Thanks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I am curious if there's any conversation regarding alumni resources as far as labs or an alumni space, especially with all these kind of longer term projects. I know that was a frequent conversation.
Right now I am taking in suggestions and kind of formulating my own recommendations, as well as working with a cabinet of alumni, advisory cabinet, to kind of see what the best resources are and the most desired resources are for the alumni, and see what we can do moving forward. Any other questions?
So just a couple final things to wrap up here. So Chroma, again, it's coming up this year on Wednesday, May 8th. So make sure that you are ready for that. You've got that on your calendar. It's our 140th, as I said, and our new streetscapes, part of the creative campus work that the city did, will make it even bigger and better. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Most importantly, we actually, you may not know, but we have a committee of students who help out with the brand of Chroma every year. So Maria can share more details if anyone wants to know more about that and get involved. So you can be part of sort of figuring out what Chroma looks like every year from its sort of identity, visual identity, brand standpoint, and have a say in sort of what we do that night, other than look at all the amazing work that you produce. Next, if you haven't heard, there's this really awesome thing called First You Hustle. This is a podcast that has been created by Jordan Bell, and it is done by Career Services. It's had more than 1,000 downloads already, and now it's even on the local radio station. So you can find links on your MyCCAD emails that you get every couple weeks, or on the portal, the MyCCAD portal, and you can see right here. But this is a really great podcast that gives you all kinds of resources about making your career and making a go of it. And it's a lot of fun and easy to listen to. So take advantage of that resource and listen to it. Last of all, marketing things. Please follow the Twitter account at CCAD News. We have, of course, just at CCAD EDU, which is our general Twitter account, but CCAD News is a new one that we added this year just to kind of be more directed to an internal audience, giving you just updates and news that is not so much kind of marketing speak, but really just sort of updates and news for you. So follow that. Use MyCCAD to show your work on social. We like to kind of see what's going on with you all, and we can't necessarily easily track all of your social media accounts, but if you tag it with MyCCAD, then we can have a good filter to look through it and see the great work that you're posting and see what you're up to. And you can also always connect with me at Melanie_Corn. I'm mostly on Instagram and Twitter, though I technically have a Facebook page too. I just don't use it that often. So mostly Instagram and Twitter. And questions. So we covered a lot, but does anyone have any questions that they haven't asked yet? About anything we covered or anything we didn't cover? Okay, remember I just made a promise to the faculty and staff that you all have great questions. Yeah.
Do you have anything in mind priority-wise for infrastructure for the campus? Like you mentioned from the survey, are those like top priority officially, or is there anything you guys are working on?
Yeah, so I mean, it's still a little too early to tell exactly what will be a priority, but you know, there are a few things for sure. We definitely know that we need some better student space, some more and better student space. And that means a lot of things. That might be, again, kind of as was shown here, more sort of social space, more collaborative workspace. You know, many of you have sort of disciplinary, you know, major specific kind of homes that you gravitate toward. That's where your classes often are. But we, I think, could do a lot to really expand our resources to really facilitate more collaboration and interaction across majors. And part of that, again, is about, you know, so how do we, what student services do students most need, and how can we make them more available to students? You know, we've got about, I don't know, 60 to 70% of our students live off campus right now, about that. Maybe a little less, but around there. You know, we don't have a great home where they can hang out, you know, sort of in between classes. I've heard from at least one student who goes and naps in her car over in Columbus State parking lot, which, you know, maybe is okay sometimes, but not okay on a day like today. So, you know, how can we provide more spaces to serve students in that way? That's a top priority. The other top priority, I would say, is that we have really great making facilities for our programs, but there's a great opportunity with this new campus plan to expand those and update them. So, you know, in my dream world, I envision a new sort of center for digital fabrication that might, you know, take the kind of fab lab from the basement corner of Kinney and make it, you know, more of a kind of centerpiece for a bigger, again, sort of interdisciplinary collaborative making space for students. Those are a couple of the, I think, of the big priorities in terms of space. But it's not all about space, it's also about programming, right? So, you know, we also look at, you know, how can we, what kind of student services and student programs can we continue to grow and build that will help students who are most at risk, first generation students, you know, others who may be more likely to drop out of college. So we're not just looking at buildings, we're also looking at the services that we provide for students and helping them find a good fit here and a good connection and succeed in their classes. What else? I know at least one other question. Yes?
I have a question about the study abroad coordinator. I know that position was removed and now we're going to more on academic advisors to assist in that, but can you just talk a little bit more about that decision and how
Yeah, it's a good question. So we did about a year and a half ago, we had a position that we got rid of that was sort of focused on study abroad and other sort of external learning opportunities, and it just wasn't functioning very well in that. There was nothing against the person there, it was just the position wasn't functioning that well. We weren't seeing a great kind of movement in that area. So we are sort of looking at another model. We've moved into another model that may be temporary, depending on the future. So right now, if you are interested in studying abroad for, as a kind of more exchange program, like for a semester, then you can talk with any of your advisors, your academic advisors, but one advisor, Natalie, sorry, yes, has been sort of extra trained in really helping you walk through that. So even now, when you go online and you go online to make your appointment, you can even select that you want to have a conversation about that and set up a meeting. There are other types of study abroad opportunities like faculty-led courses that might be over spring break, things like that. And the provost office is really handling those because that's really coordinating with our faculty and a class is kind of on our books. So we're exploring how that works. I think that, again, part of our kind of longer term strategic goals are thinking about how we can facilitate more students getting an experience to study abroad, and what do we really want out of that for them? So what's, of course it's wonderful and lovely to study abroad, but like, what are the learning outcomes that we're really focused on that we think are really important? Is it about, cross-cultural communication? Is it about sort of learning how to just be on your own in another country and, the kind of life skills that you gain from that? Is it a particular art or design skill set that maybe there's a school that we partner with that, really is an expert at that is not at the top of our list of wonderful skills that we offer? So, what are the outcomes that we're looking for? And how can we sort of drive toward those rather than just this kind of broad sense of going abroad? Because frankly, right now we don't have many students who take us up on it. And it's not just because we don't have a staff person anymore. It's because I think for most students, they find that it's challenging because of finances. It's challenging because they don't necessarily find an easy way for it to mesh in with their requirements that they're taking, and that they worry that it's going to sort of lead to them taking more time to degree. So those are big picture challenges that many schools are dealing with, but that we really need to tackle as well. And I don't have a great answer for those, but just to acknowledge that we know those exist. And as we look toward the right staffing model, it's really about how can we address some of those issues and then staff appropriately.